as a community, and I'm going to ask you this question because this always plays in my head. As far as hip hop's concerned and hip hop culture, are we responsible for certain individuals? Are we responsible for the ones that are having a difficult time coming up in the industry? Are we responsible for people like Kanye? Are we responsible for certain artists and their behaviors and their actions and stuff like that? Now, we didn't raise them, but as a community, as a culture, you know, is it our responsibility to, you know, a village, you know, it takes a village to raise a kid. Is it our responsibility to see to it that they make it in the industry or they have as much success as possible?
It's a dual responsibility. It's a responsibility upon the artist to make wise choices, really upon the person, you know, more so than the artist, the person to make wise choices. But you said it, you know, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a woman. It takes a village to raise a man. And so as a person, my responsibility is to invest. You know, I'm an investor. I do believe when people say, oh, I'm not a role model. No, I am a role model. And it's important that I realize that I'm a role model because I need to realize that I have tools and attributes that other people need. I have to look at myself as a willing person to invest. And so I do think that hip hop we are responsible to invest. We have to invest in each other. I think as Black people, we are so communal. One of the most beautiful things about our community is that we are communal. We can bring some music, we could bring some food, and we can create community just based upon that. And so, but when we take on that sort of European mindset, I know I'm probably gonna get in some hot water with this, but when we take on that European mindset of individuality, of that mindset of just let her do her, that's not us. That's them. That's them. And so that's within the culture, the European culture of individuality, and it's less communal. And so I do, when I look at artists, when I look at really just people in general, my role as a teacher, my role as a man, my role as a father, my role as an uncle, as a friend, as a brother, as a nephew, as a person is to invest. And I can't just hold, like I said earlier, I can't just hold my truths and what I've learned to myself. That's not being a responsible person. And so I do think that we play a huge role in the outcomes of people. With Kanye right now, you know, there's two sort of elements I think that are happening. Does he have mental health issues? Absolutely. However, what he's saying, those things that he's saying, that's just out of his heart. You know, his mental health issues could be the fact that he has outbursts and that he may not have as many boundaries, or that's one issue over here. Two things can be true. But who's appealing? Who's saying something to this man's heart? Who's investing his heart? All these Christian leaders that are around him that gave him all the support early in the year, had him preaching before congregations and all this, where are those people right now that are pouring into his heart as a man, not as Kanye the artist, not as the genius, but as the man? And so we have to take some responsibility. It's not all of our fault, but taking that responsibility just shows you are part of this sort of human race, this mankind, that's my brother. If I see my brother or my sister in need, and if I have the tool, and if I don't help, then what am I really here for? And
it goes back to what I was saying about support and embracing him instead of saying, okay, he's crazy, I don't want to have nothing to do with him. Like, when do we start making that change and that connection with our people? When do we start being our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper?
I don't know. I think we have so many divisions. We are a heartbroken people in some regard, in which we look at each other as our worst enemy. And instead of saying, I mean, we are so critical of one another. And it echoes beyond the music. It goes beyond the music. It is, we hate to see, no, I'm not going to say all of us, but there's some that hate to see success. There's some
Mhm.
that are waiting for the downfall. We have our own personal hurts that we find it hard to get through, and therefore, and we don't. If we can't find healing within ourselves, then it's hard for us to give to other people. And so, we almost have to search within self, deal with self first before we heal else. And that's a tough thing to do. And I think that's where we see the lack of support. I think what we see is that people don't think that they have the tools to help. You know,
Mhm.
they may have other things, but in order to connect at the heart level, connect at the spirit level, connect at the mind, they feel as if they don't have the tools necessary. But really, everything that they need to help is within. But they don't have that confidence or that belief to really believe that they can inspire change. And so it's we are people of resources, but we often look at ourselves in this American society as being resourceless.
Mhm.
And that's just not true. That's just what American society has taught us, that we don't have what we need within. Therefore, we are always going to be a people of lack. And that's a huge lie that we've taken on in our minds and our bodies and our souls and our spirit, that will continue to stop us from connecting on the level at which we need to connect upon.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Um, Getting back to some of the stuff that you said, because look, we could go on and off with this.
All day.
There's so many questions I got for you, but the stylist aspect of your life and your career, where did that come from? Where did you receive influence on that from? Or what inspired?
You know, it's contrary to what I have on right now. I have on simple t-shirt and shorts. I love the element of fashion, of expression, of even though I have on a simple t-shirt, but I have Tupac on my t-shirt, one of my
Mhm.
hip-hop heroes. But the expression of fashion, I think, is beautiful. And so I got into that. I've always been, well, not to brag, but I've been well dressed throughout my life. And I started working for a high-end retailer, as a black man, as the only black man in that high-end clothing retail place. I developed a client base based upon my eye for style. And so I took that and capitalized on it. And especially when it comes to women's personal styling, to have the unique perspective of being a black man in a white world, but also being a person of integrity, being a person that I'm not just putting you in the clothes, I'm speaking to your heart. I am, it's more than just business with me. It's your well-being. I was able to really just take that and mold it and grow it for a couple of years until the economy crashed. But I enjoyed it's so artistic to be able to put someone in clothes and change their outlook on how they see themselves.
Mhm.
And it's one of the most direct ways to sort of influence someone's life, to sort of give them ability to see themselves in a different lens. Putting a woman in a dress and she feels like $1,000,000 even though she only spent 50.
Mhm.
No, it's those magic moments of investment. And so, styling and is much in the same way as songwriting and every other sort of element of the art of my life, in which it's pouring back into people. It's a form of expression. It's a form of edification,
Mhm.
and just helping the soul grow and nurture it.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So, do you think you're gonna get back into it, or?
I don't. One of the problems with being I'm an INFJ personality on the Myers-Briggs scale, and so I'm very creative, but I have to manage my time, and so I lack when it comes to time management, and so I have like 4 projects right now that I'm focusing on. I would love to do a clothing line one day, and so that's on the back burner. But I'm working on a couple of books right now. I'm working on, of course, growing the podcast and expanding out. Working on music, working on really just also investing in myself. How am I going to grow? What are some areas that I need to heal? And so I try not to overwhelm myself with too much, because that's sort of my tendency to do. But it's there. It's there. I still love to shop. I still love to pick up nice items. I'm getting my style back to where I need to be again. That's another sort of form of my creativity. I'm bringing it back, even though I'm sitting here with the pandemic beard and everything, but I'm coming back. And so clothing and styling will always be a part of my life. As an educator and running a center of academic help, you know, I am able to sit down with my students and help them figure out what to wear for job interviews. Or they'll show me their prom dresses and ask me, is this cute? Should I wear this shoe? Or what should I wear with this? Should I wear this necklace or this bangle? And that's a role of an educator, but it's also the role of a father. And so styling will never leave me. I love that element. Yeah. It's in my heart.
I know that's right. So now with the students you work with, what is the age range of the population you work with?
So they are between kindergarten and senior year of high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so it's one of the most beautiful elements of my life. These kids are majority of them are East or West African. Majority of them are first generation born here. They're going to be first generation college students. They are from Somalia, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria. I mean, we have one of the most cultural rich centers in the city of Columbus, Ohio. And they come each day after school. And they are brilliant. They really don't need much help academically. What they need is social help, and that's where I come in. We're an academic center. We can help them, but that extra piece is really, how can I help you go through life at a time in which you need help? And so 100 kids a day, it's a lot of them, but they're the most beautiful group of kids that I've ever been around. It's a family. I mean, we tell each other that we love each other, because we do. And we have family dinners. To see kids from 20, 30 different countries sit around and have a family dinner in a library and just be a part of a family unit, it's incredible. It's incredible. And to see these different cultures bring in food and just, it's unlike anything I've ever been a part of. But it's beautiful, and it's one of those settings that always teaches you something new each day. And so I'm proud of what we built, and I love those kids, you know, with all my heart. They are incredible.
I like it. So did you choose to work with the specific population, or this is what was given to you and you was like, you know what, perfect, I know exactly what to do?
You know what, I had two choices. I applied for the same job. This is in my 20s, and the one job I applied for was right around the corner from my house. And it's the same job, mind you, but I did not get a call back for that job. And so I went, they called me back for the job that I currently have. I did not want that job because I was broke. I couldn't afford gas money to go to that interview.
Oh, wow.
I was broke, and I was at a low place in my life. And so I went to the interview. I was surprised I got the job, and I did not look at myself as being a person of resource. And so I wasn't sure how I could help these kids. I went into that job on the first day, intimidated and like, I don't know what I can do. I saw the kids, met a couple of them, and it just became clear. Like, this is where you're supposed to be. This is where your heart is. This is where these kids need you and you need them. And that was 8 years ago. And so we connected. We've grown to be in an area that has a high dropout rate. And in my 8 years of being at that specific library in that location, we've never had one kid drop out of our program. We've never had a high school dropout. Each year we have valedictorians, and these are kids from that have come from refugee camps, and they've had to go through some stuff in life. And so we've been highly successful. The team that I have, we've been extremely successful in building a beautiful part of humanity within the chaos of society. And so, yeah, man, it's a beautiful place to be.